Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Media Club podcast. We are starting today with our NHL segment. I'm Alexa, and I'm here with George and Caitlin. And we're going to get started. So our first topic of discussion is obviously we're at the last approximately 10 games in the NHL for all the teams. So our playoff picks. Anyone want to start?
I think it's very close right now. I think there's like 6 teams separated by a point or two. So it's like up in the air as to who's going to get the best team in the league for the regular season. And there's just a lot going on. It's very close and tight.
Yeah, definitely.
I know Caitlin's a Boston fan, so Caitlin's got her Bruins all the way.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've been saying this past few weeks, I'm staying with the Nucks. I think it's going to be a cool Cinderella story if you have them with this kind of basically the same team, maybe 1 or 2 player changes, and brand new coach, and boom, straight to the playoffs. So obviously we know who the problem was.
Yeah. I think the Dallas looks good too. They've been playing pretty well. The Avalanche are on a roll. So I think that the Canucks too. There's just a lot of options in the West, I think.
Rangers have been doing pretty good too. They made a pretty quick climb up to first in the league.
Yeah.
We're all hoping the Flyers drop off.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess so.
So tonight's games, there's a bunch of lineups and a very, very important one because today is March 26th. So it's the Florida Panthers versus the Bruins who are fighting head-to-head for that first spot in the Atlantic, but the Bruins are up by 1 game. So they really can't let this one go, Caitlin. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling a little nervous, but they've been doing pretty good, so hoping for the best. We'll see who's in net.
Who do you think it's going to be?
I'm hoping it's Olmark, but they're both pretty good, so either way. Just hoping for the best tonight.
Yeah, it's the biggest game of the year for both teams, I think, with how close the standings are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't relate. Don't have a goalie.
Well,
Go
now they
Habs.
do, I guess.
A little late.
Too late though, right?
But there's both of them. I still call them Swiss cheese. They have their moments.
Although they first shutout of the year was on Sunday against the Islanders with
That was a shock.
Kaapo Kähkönen. Yeah,
That was a
I
shock.
didn't see that one coming.
The shutout coming from the Devils is crazy.
Yeah, doesn't happen too often these days.
Doesn't happen ever.
I
They always
saw-
let one go.
I saw yesterday was the 1-year anniversary of when they clinched a playoff spot last year.
Yeah, they're trying to make all their fans like upset. Like, come on,
Yeah.
like no need to remind us.
Yeah, it's like went downhill unfortunately
Yeah.
last year.
So speaking of like playoffs and like since the Devils were in it last year and Bruins were too, so we have this thing that NHL Europe posted on Instagram. So it's like the last time each team made the playoffs, and everything else is approximately like 2018 to like now, and then you just take like a look at one of the teams and it says 2011, the Buffalo Sabres. What is going on over there?
Yeah, it's a mess. They can't get like anything going. Every year they get hyped up. Like this year, they were supposed to make it and they stunk again. So it's like, what else is new?
Yeah, not making the playoffs in over 10 years is...
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
I think like the next longest team is the Detroit in like 2016, but like before that they hadn't made it for like 25 years in a row. So it's like the Sabres are like on an island.
I think Detroit has it this year, the way it's looking.
Yeah,
It looks like they're getting a wild card spot.
They're in the mix. They're like a point or two behind.
They're 1 point behind Washington right now with 1 game extra, so Washington just has to lose 2. Detroit's
Yeah.
got to win 1 and they're
And
set.
the 2 teams play tonight, I think.
Well,
That's something
tonight's a very
Yeah,
big.
there's 12
big night for
games.
everyone.
Lots of big games.
Oh yeah, they face off. That's gonna be a.
Yeah.
Oh, the NHL's gonna have a field day today posting.
Yeah, well, lots of highlights and content and stuff. So
Yeah, and what shocks me the most is because the 2021 draft and the 2018 draft, the Sabres had the number 1 draft pick.
yeah,
What are they doing with their number 1 draft pick?
yeah. It was there were no Connor Bedards or anything those years, I guess.
They had a Quinn Hughes, but I guess like he wasn't seen as what he should have been because if
Yeah.
you look at him now, he's the
Yeah.
top defenseman in the
Yeah.
league,
Yeah.
and like no one was
He's good.
expecting that.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then his brother was the first overall pick in 2019.
Should not have been.
Who would you have taken instead of Jack?
Honestly, great question. I don't know. Like, maybe Matt Boldy? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, he looks pretty good.
Because, like, everyone gets shocked when I say this. I'm a huge Devils fan, but I'm not a big Jack Hughes fan. Like, amazing personality, amazing kid. Like, not saying that way, but, like, play-wise, he's made of glass. I call him Hughesy Doozy, like Humpty Dumpty. Like, he falls, he cracks. And it's not even because he got hit. It's because he just can't stay on his skates properly.
Yeah,
So,
he
one divot on the ice, he's flying across the ice on the
he
floor.
looks like he's playing hurt right now, I think.
He still is. Like, some practices, they don't have him practicing. Like,
Yeah.
he's just doing conditioning workouts. And I was, like, panicking. I was like, is he injured again? And like, then it said in the article, like, no, he's just, like, not full-on practicing because he's still not 100%. But his shoulder's been like that for 2 years now.
Yeah.
That's
Ever
one
since
shoulder.
he fell against the Kraken a few years ago.
Yeah, I
It
think it was, like,
screw-
end of the season.
Screwed up his shoulder.
Yeah, so, like, that's, like, not good for him because if he doesn't rehabilitate that as he gets older, it's only
That's
going to
not
get
good.
worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously hockey's a physical sport, so you have to get hit. You have to,
Yeah.
like, all three Hughes brothers, like, avoid hits. You'll see the way they, like, dodge things. Like, Luke went flying one day because he avoided to hit someone. I was like, just take the hit.
the
Like,
hit.
you're fine.
Yeah.
You're 6'2".
He's
Like,
6'2".
Yeah.
you're okay, buddy. Like, I promise you.
At least Jack can use the height excuse, I guess.
Yeah, he's 5'10". Luke has no excuse.
No.
Like, that's
Yeah.
actually how, like, honestly, you get hurt more when you try to avoid the contact. Like, just, like,
Yeah.
prep for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, they, like, you know in bowling how they have the bumpers? I think they need, like, a Jack Hughes bumper in front of
guess
the
so.
rock. They'll just take some of his, like, contract and just, like, put, like, bumpers in. Oh, Jack's going flying. Bumper. In and out. Because, like, he needs it. He's, like, all over the place.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be, like, our top dog. Like,
Yeah.
he's our franchise player right now.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know. I really don't know why I got taken away from captain. Like, Nico Hischier, I think he should be our franchise player. He should be our face. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why it's Jack Hughes. Nico plays much better. He's from Switzerland, so, like, he didn't even want to come over here. His agent forced him to, and then all of a sudden he was the number 1 draft pick in 2017, and the Devs got him. But, like, he's, like, doing amazing. Like,
He's been great, yeah.
and he's been, like, steady. Like, there's
Yeah.
no, like, where, like, you break yourself. Like, I don't know why he's not our franchise player. Like, you guys have Marchand and Pasternak, but, like,
Yeah, and-
that
and
makes sense because
McAvoy.
they're steady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one's not steady. We need to figure out a number 2.
He's like up and down. And that comment about how everyone pays to watch him play didn't turn out well.
Oh my God, everyone brings that up. They're like, well, we pay to watch you lose. He didn't say win.
Yeah,
he
he said
didn't say
play.
win. He just said play. Like,
Yeah.
type it down. That is, I get attacked for that all the time, especially by Rangers fans. If you're a Rangers fan watching this, I'm sorry. But, like, all of you guys, like, oh, we pay to watch you win. No, you don't. He just said you pay to watch me play. Like, he didn't say win. He knows better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, 2019, they probably got overhyped him because of his brother
Mhm.
and, like, all the fame he had because, you know, he's not bad to look at, but, like,
Well, at least he's better than Capo Caco. Which is
oh
good.
my God, yeah. Rangers dropped the ball on that one.
Yeah. That's a rough one.
Yeah. It is.
Even, like, Cole Caulfield, like, he was, like, way back. He wasn't even in the top 10. Like, I
Yeah.
honestly think, like, he could have made top 10. Like, he would have
was
belonged
close.
there.
He could have.
Yeah. They picked, I think, Trevor Zegras was like 6th or 5th.
9.
9? Oh, wow. That's much worse than I thought.
They dropped the ball there too.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
think because the U.S. team was doing so well that the NDPC
Yeah, that
team
team
got just
kinda-
so overhyped
Yeah.
that they're like, oh, these players, we gotta get them. They gotta get them.
Mhm.
And Cole Caulfield's only 5'8", 5'9", so
Yeah.
he's short. So they were like, yeah, his height's not there, but
Mhm.
his skill was. And I
Yeah.
really think they should have flipped that. It would have
Yeah.
made a whole difference for all these teams.
I think so.
100%.
Yeah, it would have changed things a lot for lots of teams. And Holtz was number 7 in 2020. What do you think about that?
I think that was the right move. Unfortunately, Lindy Ruff
On the 4th line every game.
hated the kid for no reason.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
But our new coach Travis Green, he's got him playing and he's scoring. He's doing well. I'm
Yep.
still heartbroken over our Toffoli trade because that was a waste of a trade. We needed
That was
him, our
awful.
number 1 point scorer. I'm sorry. I'd rather you get rid of Hughes. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he brings in monetary
Money.
value.
Jerseys and
He has the number 1 selling jersey for all hockey players.
yeah.
That was
that's surprising.
he's maybe just below Gretzky, but Gretzky's way older. So just give
Yeah.
him 10 years
Yeah.
He'll
through the roof.
we'll
Even
buy him.
all jerseys across the board. It's basketball jerseys, football jerseys. Mahomes
Mhm.
is number 1, and I think Jack is number 8. Every single jersey,
Yeah.
soccer included.
Mhm.
He's behind Messi and stuff.
And those sports are way more popular.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Worldwide. He's 23 coming up this year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Still young.
Yeah.
That is insane. The bank he is making, and he's not even doing good.
Yeah.
I think we need to boycott his jersey sales. Maybe see if that'll help give him a push.
Well, if you
Maybe.
all the games, it's everyone has his jersey on. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, it's so annoying. Justice for Luke. I think Luke's the better Hughes brother on the Devils, if I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
Justice for Luke.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
The kid's insane.
Yeah.
It's his rookie season. He's
Yeah.
3rd in line for the Calder.
Mhm.
He's
Behind
up there.
Bedard.
Mhm.
And
Fantilli was above him, but Fantilli,
he's
the
behind
calf
Bedard and
laceration.
the guy on the Wild, Brock Faber.
yes.
Mm,
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he could have 2021 draft. I think he could have honestly.
He was 4th, and I think
He should have went to the. I
That
think
was
he
a good
should have went.
pick.
I think he should have went to the Kraken. Honestly think that he should have been picked 2nd.
Yeah. That was a good pick, I think, a few years ago. Remember Jack's reaction when they picked him?
God, don't. That was the most secondhand embarrassment I think I've had. Have you seen that video?
No.
It was fun. It's
Dude,
funny.
he shakes his butt. It's what are you doing? I'm pulling that up right now.
Yeah, it's a classic.
And someone brought it up in an interview. Jack was just don't remind me of that. Yeah, if you just
I need to
watch that,
see.
the way Jack's just shaking. Luke's all right, I'm on the Devils. Jack's yes, yes, and he's screaming on his interview, and he's yeah, that's Jack.
Yeah.
Luke couldn't care, and the two of them, I love having brothers on the team because
Yeah.
the two of them, Jack scored 2 goals and Luke got 3 assists, and they each got
Oh, that
asked.
was funny.
Jack was asked about his 3 assists. He's yeah, nice, okay. And
Oh,
then,
I saw that
oh
video.
no, Jack said good for him, and then Luke
Yeah.
was okay,
Yeah.
nice, he
Yeah.
scored twice. Brotherly love. My mom would kill me if I ever did that. They need media training,
Yeah.
majorly.
Yeah.
I'm so
You're over them, I guess. Over Jack.
dude, he needs a reality check. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Everyone's been fanning his flame. Let's get some fire extinguisher in there.
Maybe making the playoffs was a boost to his ego or something.
Probably.
Yeah, but he didn't really. I don't think he did
That's funny.
all too much.
Yeah.
It was Luke got that game winner.
Yeah.
I don't know. Jesper Bratt too. Everyone forgets about the Bratt man.
And Timo has played much
yes,
better
they
than
put him on an 8-year contract now.
Yeah. And he
Yeah.
almost got it, and he was there to defend Heischer on Sunday. When he,
Yeah, that was a bad hit.
but yeah, I'm surprised that Anders Lee didn't get any suspension.
Matt Rempe got one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That too. Like, the Devils are not physical. That's killing
That's
us.
an
Like,
issue. Like,
hit.
Yeah.
You're wearing equipment. Trust
Yeah.
me. You're
It's
Yeah.
part of
fine.
the game.
You're fine. You're wearing equipment.
Yeah, it's part of the game. You have to be physical.
yeah.
Life's tough. Wear a helmet. Oh wait, you are wearing one. You're fine.
Yeah.
I just like
Yeah.
so.
Well, this season's going to come to a merciful conclusion in like a few weeks.
Listen, I don't care what happens at this point. I'm over it. As long as the Flyers don't win, I'm smooth sailing into next year. I'll
Yeah.
take my top 16 draft lottery
Draft
chances, hoping to get Celebrini.
Celebrini, yep.
Yep.
At like
I want
Boston
that kid.
College.
Go away. Trade Hughes for him. I'll take him. I'll take him. He's
Yeah.
amazing. So, right. So that is it for our NHL segment. We are going to head over to our next segment, and thanks for watching this one.
All right, welcome back to the Sports Media Club podcast. I'm Tyler, and this is Jake, and we're here to talk about the NFL, free agency, going into the draft. Let's take it away.
Absolutely. So, Tyler, you're a Giants fan, I know. So, we got to talk about Saquon Barkley. Left the Giants, went to your division rival, the Eagles. So let me ask you this: are you more mad at Saquon or the Giants?
Front office, without a question. First of all, Sean, however you pronounce our GM's name. First of all, he has a track record with not wanting to pay running backs.
That's true.
He's the reason why Singletary left Buffalo to begin with. On top of that, hey, would I rather him go somewhere other than Philly? Yes, as long as it's not Dallas. But,
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, we talk, especially as fans, we talk about loyalty until we're blue in the face. But at the end of the day, it's a business, and we're the ones that chose not to pay him.
Exactly.
Now, it's true that the contract that we offered him in the middle of the year last year, and going back to last year's offseason, was basically the same deal that he signed with Philly, at least in terms of total money. But then you also get into the terms of, okay, how much are we getting paid a year? How much is signing bonus, guaranteed money? There's a bunch of different factors into it. And it's also, let's be honest, Saquon's 28, which is kind of, it's going towards the end of at least the prime of your career
yeah.
as a running back. And I look at it from Saquon's perspective as, okay, if I've only got so many good years left, because I mean, the guy's smart enough to know that, is, okay, would I rather spend that time with a team that, as much as I love the Giants, isn't going anywhere? Or would I rather go to a team like Philadelphia, which, again, as a Giants fan, as much as I hate to admit it, is one or two key pieces away from winning a Super Bowl?
Yeah, it makes more sense for Saquon, like you said, 28 years old, 2 or 3 years left maybe until he falls off, and running backs tend to fall off very quick.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at a guy like Le'Veon Bell, who seemed like he was the best back in the league, and he goes to the Jets, and it's like he can't run for 3 yards anymore. So yeah,
I think Le'Veon Bell should be the prime example of
Yes.
why you don't hold out on a contract, because he
Yes.
did that, and we saw what happened. I mean, the other part of it with Saquon is, like, I think it also comes down on the front office, because, I mean, we nominated the guy, I think 1 or 2 years ago, as our team nominee for the Walter Payton Man of the Year. The guy did, in 6 years with us, both on the field and off the field, went above and beyond, did everything he was asked to do and more. So he did everything that he possibly could have done to earn that contract, and they didn't give it to him.
Yeah.
Now, I think if we really look back, now, as we always say, hindsight's 20/20. I think the big mistake they made is, you go back a couple of years, you can make the case that they wouldn't be in this position. Now, I understand why they did it at the time. They wouldn't be in this position if they did not decline Daniel Jones's 5th-year option on his rookie contract. Because if they had accepted that, you know, you go back to last year's offseason, that ungodly amount of money that we gave Daniel Jones, of all people, at least part of that would have been going to Barkley. Now, really, the only thing that most likely changes if they give him that is honestly, at this point, because it really feels like they're ready to move on from him.
They don't
Yeah,
want him
which is
there
like-
anymore.
I really hate how, as a Giants fan, the quarterback on our roster that I have the most faith in is Tommy DeVito. like that's how you know it's bad.
Yeah, it's not great over there. But let's switch gears. Let's talk about some quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins went to Atlanta. He got a lot of money. Think that was a good move?
For Kirk Cousins, yes. For the Atlanta Falcons, I don't know. What are you doing? like, you're, like this dude had Justin Jefferson, in Minnesota. Now I understand he was hurt, and that team was bad. Like, how are you gonna look at him and say, you know what, we're basically gonna give this guy a blank check and let him write whatever number he wants on it.
Yeah, I think Atlanta was clearly a quarterback away from being the division winner for the next couple of years.
Oh, for sure.
Are they going to win a Super Bowl? No. They are not. Will they win 10, 11 games and win the division every single year because of how bad that division is, like really bad?
Maybe.
I think they will.
I mean, I feel like for the next couple of years, it's going to be between them and New Orleans, and I think New Orleans is in a similar position where it's like, okay, we feel like we're a quarterback away here. New Orleans also doesn't have a defense.
No, they're very
So,
mediocre.
No. It's like if a Big 12 team played in the NFL. That's basically what the Saints are. When they're good, they have a really good offense that'll score a ton of points every game, but they'll also give up a ton of points.
Yeah.
Like, I probably couldn't tell you 2 people that play on the Saints defense.
Yeah. Cameron Jordan.
And he's like 100.
He's at the very end, and then it's just,
Yeah.
in fact, I think they might draft a defender this year because there's literally everyone else is ancient on that defense.
That's the other thing, though. But it's like, even if we want to switch gears to the draft, I mean, they're not necessarily in a prime. They don't necessarily have a prime draft position. And unless you want to look at the corners, and even there's not really anybody. There's not really. I don't feel like there's really a single defensive prospect this year that you can really write home about.
Yeah, there's some solid ones. Dallas Turner is a pass rusher at Alabama. There's some solid corners, but I think you're right. There's no like Miles. There's not a Miles Garrett on this draft by any means.
There's
not on that side of the ball.
There is not at least on the defensive side of the ball this year, there is not somebody that you look at them and you're like, okay, this guy could be a franchise cornerstone. Now, I think keeping on the topic with the draft, what I always find to be interesting with the draft is you get these guys that are, that they have these really big performances in the combine. That combine performance booms their draft stock, and they end up getting drafted a lot higher than they would, and normally they don't pan out as actual players. I feel like at least at first, the one player that was kind of an exception to that was DK Metcalf, but now he's known more for fighting people than he is for actually playing.
Literally.
And, on the topic of, these guys that are just these combine studs, I mean, Xavier Worthy out of Texas, guy breaks the 40-yard dash record. Now, I feel like that record's getting broken every other year. But it's like, you have this guy who, before the combine, at best, was being talked about as like a mid to late second rounder. And after the combine, there were mock drafts that were saying that he was going to get taken at like the very end of the first round.
Yeah.
Another one on top of that, and this is a little bit of my bias coming out because with college football, I'm a Penn State fan. Chop Robinson, defensive end at Penn State.
I do like him though.
This dude should not be moving the way he does at his size.
Very fast.
This man is a defensive lineman that runs like a running back. That shouldn't be possible.
Yeah, he's very, very, very fast.
But ironically, again, they always have players like that, and look at where they are.
Oh yeah, there's always guys in every year like they're a little undersized for their position, but they're just so fast. Sometimes they work, sometimes they figure it out, sometimes they don't. I feel like he should figure it out because he is very talented. He's very fast. He's a speed rusher.
He is. But that's also that's the new wave. It's like you have so many guys that are these top tier defensive linemen. Now at this point, I don't know who's a defensive lineman, who's an outside linebacker. They're the same thing. That so much of it is speed rushing, but it's also like we've seen prime examples of if speed rushing is all you can do. And this doesn't even just apply to edge rushers. It's just the NFL as a wide thing. No matter how good you are at one thing, you can't make it in the NFL just by being good at one thing.
Right, yeah.
Look at Josh Allen. Look, Josh Allen's great.
Uh-huh.
He's huge. He can run. He's got probably the strongest arm I've ever seen, which is all great until you realize that he leads the NFL.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, you gotta be good at multiple things. You gotta be able to stop the run. You gotta other things you gotta be good at.
Yeah. Now, if we're still gonna be talking about players move and stuff like that, I think honestly the one move or the one thing that has happened through this free agency period that really shocked me was Aaron Donald. Because,
I did not see that coming.
10-time Pro Bowl, I think like 10 All-Pros. Won a Super Bowl, 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards. I think he was the Super Bowl. No, Cooper Kupp was. But this guy, you have this guy who is arguably the greatest interior defensive lineman the NFL has ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And he was still, even 10 years in, was really playing at the top of his game. So I think you have fans that are looking at it as, okay, it's not like you physically couldn't play anymore.
Right.
So why are you retiring? But it's actually interesting. I saw somebody point out, like, you don't really look into the effects after football that playing for that long has on your body. Because I think the example was either Kurt Warner or Matt Leinart. Now, Kurt Warner had more concussions than he remembers.
Yeah.
But I think, Matt Leinart, the guy's 40 and he had to get a hip replaced.
Yeah.
And we're talking about a quarterback having to do that. What do you think is going to happen with a defensive lineman?
It's going to be much
It's going to be worse.
But yeah, I mean, I kind of, when it first happened, I was like, oh, obviously everyone was like, wow, but that's crazy, He's kind of been contemplating for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But, like, last year, he was kind of like, pretty much right away, like, shut it down, like, no, I'm playing.
Yeah.
The previous 2 off seasons, it was to the point where, like, I think he might retire, but then all of a sudden he didn't. And we didn't really hear anything.
No.
So I didn't think he was going to play that much longer just because of things he's said in the past, but it was just so
It was
subtle.
still kind of surprising, though.
Oh, yeah. Well, obviously, a player of his caliber. It was just so subtle, kind of came out of left field, and just, when you think about it, it's like, okay, he was contemplating for a couple of years, basically, but just, it wasn't like, a report that came in like a week ago, like, oh, he's once again contemplating retirement, but this time it might be serious. It just,
it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Still with free agency, you look at some of the moves that some of these teams made, like, Calvin Ridley goes to Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And, previously there was this notion with Tennessee where it was like where receivers' careers go to die.
Yeah.
Wide receivers historically do not do well in Tennessee, but I think we all know who to blame for that. Derrick Henry, and he's gone. But, it's like you look at them, Hopkins had 1,000 yards last year.
Yeah.
He had a pretty good year last year. Calvin Ridley, first of all, we got to make sure he's not betting on the games again. So there's that. But no, I think he actually might do really well with Tennessee.
I think so too.
I think, on top of, you have those 2 guys and you're losing Derrick Henry. You can't not throw the ball.
Exactly.
And I think on top of that, you look at where they're at quarterback, and if I'm Tennessee, you're going with Will Levis, and sure, he's inconsistent at times, but the guy's a raw talent at quarterback. We saw that when he was in college. We saw that in the very first game he played, even though in the NFL, even though in the rest of his games he didn't show that, but it's there. You just need to work that. Then you got Gabe Davis going to Jacksonville, and that was a big contract too. That surprised me because I looked at that and I'm like, okay, if you're Jacksonville, this guy could not establish himself as the number 2 receiver when his quarterback was Josh Allen. What makes you think he deserves this money?
Yeah, I don't get the Gabe Davis hype really too much. He's a fine speed threat, as your third receiver,
He's not your top guy.
But
though.
to be paying him 13, 14, 15 million a year, that's a little much.
Now back to my Giants. Brian Burns. Yeah.
That was a nice move, I will say.
Brian Burns. First of all, we fleeced Carolina for that. I'm sitting here like, dude, this guy is 25 years old. He is arguably, when he plays well, he is one of the best pure pass rushers in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
And you gave up a pair of mid-round draft picks for him. Now, for me as a Giants fan, I love it. Because over the past, I'd say 2 years or so, the strength of our defense, if there has been one, it has probably been our front seven. Dexter Lawrence, there's enough said there. There's a reason why he's now a 2-time All-Pro. Okereke was great for us last year. McFadden's nothing to write home about, but we definitely got more out of him than we expected to. Thibodeau's a freaking stud.
Oh, yeah.
But the biggest weakness I have is on the other side of Thibodeau because Ojulari he can't stay healthy.
Oh.
And, bringing in Burns that gets rid of that problem.
Oh, yeah. That defensive line with Thibodeau, Burns, and Lawrence is crazy.
It is.
If their offense can just score some points, they should be very good.
Well, with the news broke today about the new kickoff rules.
That's right.
With a touchback now coming to, I think it's the 35-yard line.
It's the 30,
If we start at the 30, 35-yard line and we can't score, then we have a problem. Like,
and no defense can't even tackle because the hip drop tackle's banned.
no. It's like every form of tackle now is basically banned. So what are we gonna do? Start playing flag football?
At this point.
I don't know.
But so we're kind of winding down. We got probably about 9 seconds here.
Probably.
So let's do some like draft predictions. Let's start with quarterbacks. Who's your best quarterback in this draft?
I think the first quarterback that's going to be taken is Caleb Williams.
that's-
I think But it's funny though. Even though I think Caleb's the one that's going to be the first taken, I actually think the most talented quarterback in this draft is Michael Penix. But my thing is, I think that you are going to have a lot. I think Penix actually is going to be the last of that top group of quarterbacks to be taken.
He might be, yeah.
And honestly, my thinking with that is, look, the guy's incredibly talented.
Yes.
There's no disputing that. I mean, he's the only reason Washington had any life in that national championship game. But it's also, if you look at it from an NFL general manager's point, how much stock are you going to be able to put in a kid that while he was in college had 3 season-ending injuries?
That's the problem.
That's definitely going to hurt you, both figuratively and literally.
Yeah, injuries is definitely the problem. I mean, he's got an arm for days.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's incredible. But yeah, he's got an incredible arm, but obviously he's got to be able to stay healthy. For me, yeah, I agree with you. Caleb's gonna go 1. It's the Bears have made it very obvious. But to me, my favorite's probably Drake May. I like him a lot. I think he does a little bit of everything. I'm not sure how ready he is right now.
Yeah.
I still think the offense he played was super close to the NFL offense, but I think eventually he'll be very good.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, that's all we got for the NFL segment. Stay tuned for wrestling.
Welcome back to the Sports Media Club podcast. I'm Tyler, here with Jake and Nelson, and we're here to talk about WrestleMania. Let's get it going.
Yeah, so that is coming up. Obviously, a 2-day event, April 6th and 7th. So, time we are filming it, it's March 26th. So, less than 2 weeks
A
away.
little less than 2 weeks.
So,
what do we think?
Obviously, the whole big match is obviously with the whole Bloodline storyline with The Rock and Roman and Cody Rhodes. Obviously, Seth Rollins is involved and countless others are involved.
Rock's only here because Black Adam flopped.
That may or may not have
That might be true.
something to do with it. That's
Yeah.
very, very possible. But he's here. I'm loving what I'm seeing from him. He's been great as Hollywood Rock. You know, had a
Better than
little
last
attitude
time.
there. I feel.
Rock is a rock. That's a
Rock's
The
Rock.
Rock is the Rock. Yeah, you
brings
can't go
in
wrong.
money.
You can't go
Yeah.
on a roll.
You can't go wrong.
Now his nickname is the Final Boss. So.
No final boss, though.
His Rock concert was hilarious. I can't
That
say
was pretty funny.
I can't say much of what he said on this podcast, but it was very, 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 very funny.
Rock is not exactly PG.
No, and
Which makes me think that the PG era for their television
I think
is
it's
dead.
over. It's her.
PG
I mean, you
over.
got Rock cursing like a sailor every week.
And now, and then last,
Cody
Now
had
CM Punk's back. Oh
Cody
my.
had a crimson mask last night.
Yeah.
It
yeah,
was just...
yeah, last night, first time having
Oh my
blood,
God.
first having blood in
Yeah.
for how many
long
years?
time.
Who knows?
Yeah.
And
I
the
think we
blood-
might need to put Drew McIntyre in the Hater Hall of Fame.
Yes,
He's
you've been
been
hating.
incredible.
You've been
God.
hating.
He really been hating.
You, I don't know. You've been hating CM Punk tonight.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hating Seth Rollins. So there's rumors that some people might be involved in the match.
Yes, there
Yeah.
is.
There
It's gonna
are.
be rumors are John Cena,
I've heard that. I know.
The Undertaker, and
Really
Stone
Taker.
Cold Steve Austin,
Stone Cold, I can see.
involving to help Cody Rhodes win the title against Roman.
I guess my thing with that is like, you know, I feel like we have a case here where, okay, the expectations are a lot higher than what's actually going to happen. Because it's like, I mean, if we think about this objectively, right, we're talking Undertaker, we're talking Austin, we're talking Cena. What connection do any of them have to Cody?
No, because they both faced The Rock, facing
Yeah,
yes,
but-
and then John Cena lost to Roman Reigns.
So did Undertaker,
So-
but Austin's kind of just there. Austin's just the one
His
for
name
the
is
ride.
Stone Cold. That's why he's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, but Cody Rhodes,
Probably.
he needs more help than this Seth Rollins.
Well, yeah, because Seth Rollins doesn't have working knees. Like,
Is it?
I do think Jey Uso's gonna be there.
I think Jey's is
Yeah.
gonna
Jey's
get
gonna
involved.
be there.
I guess Jimmy's gonna get
Yeah.
involved as well.
yeah.
Jimmy, yeah.
Jimmy and Soul Sikoa are gonna get involved in that match,
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
we'll hit
and
his-
Rock, of course.
So we'll
Rock.
so we'll
Yeah.
tape up his thumb.
Yeah, you know, that's actually what bothers me, because, you know, I've been a fan of Roman for, like, I think, like since the
the
Shield,
days.
yeah.
Same,
So
yeah.
I'm like, listen, I love what you're doing, but first of all,
You-
it wouldn't kill you to defend your title more than 4 times.
No, it's just,
Exactly.
no, it's just
That's
like Brock
one thing.
Lesnar.
Yeah.
This,
Oh,
this is
same
just like Brock
thing,
Lesnar.
yeah,
Same
same
thing.
thing.
Part time.
But my other thing is, I wouldn't hate it as much if every single title defense you had didn't end the same exact
I know.
way.
Yeah, and
It's
this
the same format.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm doing good. I almost lose. Either solo or
every
Jimmy
single
gets
time.
involved.
Every single time.
I win. That's the end of it.
Yeah, now it's like Roman's is getting outnumbered by Cody Rhodes. Whatever plan Roman had, Cody has.
Yeah, also, like, the Soul's Cody needs to open a hoodie every time. Like, we know it's you, dude.
No, it's
We
because
only know it's him because he shows up in the hoodie every time.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they got
Who
SmackDown.
else with a giant thumb of tape on it like that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's because
he-
he only does it because his uncle Umaga. That's
Yes.
what he. That's only why he does his
Yeah,
thumb.
which he actually reminds me a lot of.
Yes, he does. But is there any other? Obviously, that's the big storyline. Is there any other match that you're really excited for?
Hear me out on this. It should be Gable instead of Sammy fighting Gunther.
Yeah,
I've heard that a lot.
I would see that, but I think
Yeah.
Sami Zayn will lose to Gunther and Gable is gonna win the title eventually.
My thing is like, because we get into the conversation so much of when you're going into a big event like this, how important momentum is. And I look at Sammy and I'm like, dude, you just lost to Bronson Reed. Don't get me wrong, I love Bronson,
Right.
but this man's only attribute is that he's large.
Yes.
So
True.
when you go and you 2 weeks away from WrestleMania lose to a guy that basically looks like a brick wall with legs, and you're going into a match with the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion ever, especially when you know Imperium's going to get involved.
Yeah, it's the same
Oh,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
well, I'm
You
his
know,
buddies.
it's not.
it's not
a
unfair.
good equation.
It's not unfair.
No.
Yeah, and like I know obviously they had the whole thing of Chad Gable telling him like you can't do it. You know, Gunther's a different animal, and
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Gable's still going to beat Gunther no matter what.
like
I think so.
Zayn. His storyline, it's kind of similar to what he had in NXT, where like he just kept coming up short, and eventually he kind of like broke through.
He's the underdog. That's what he is.
Yeah, like that's like the whole thing.
the
So
underdog from the underground.
I can
that's
see
it.
how you make him win it, but like once he wins it, I'm like,
What do you do then?
exactly. What do you do then? It would
Yeah.
make more, if Gable was fighting him, you could easily push Gable to be the champion.
Yeah, I think the knock that they have with Gable is that Gable's already fought him 3 times.
Yes,
Which I understand.
It's like Miz.
Yeah.
It's like Miz.
Which, for the record, what he's doing with R-Truth is really funny.
Oh, hilarious.
That's because it's truth. I'm convinced
I
this guy
think-
can make anything funny.
I legitimately think they're going to win the tag
Yeah, they're gonna win the
titles.
tag titles at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
they're gonna win the tag titles.
Pretty sure that's
Because
the look.
I-
And then
Definitely-
after that, someone from the Judgment Day are gonna get kicked out.
I think
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
that's
it's gonna
a
be
good,
Priest.
good question.
And then
Maybe-
ever since that Andrade will replace one of them in Judgment Day.
I
that's
can see that.
possibly.
That's
My,
what-
my whole thing with Judgment Day is, we're obviously seeing cracks in the Judgment Day.
Right.
Yeah, it was like it's
And-
gonna be Rhea Ripley the only one to retain the title at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
That's it.
because it's going to be, we saw it on Raw with Priest getting pretty fed up with Dom and McDonough.
It's
which-
same thing Finn Balor.
Which is
same
fair.
thing.
But it's also like, Priest is also the only one that doesn't really have anybody.
That's true.
Because you know that Rhea's going to side with Dom. That's what's
And,
going to happen.
and same with JD.
And
Same
JD.
thing.
Same with
Finn.
JD, because he has history from NXT
He told-
with Balor.
Finn.
Yeah, And Finn got JD as well. So like they know.
yeah,
They
they've
know.
been friends for a very long time.
Yeah. So Priest is kind
And-
of
and
Priest is kind of just
So
he's
when
kinda
is
there.
when is
Yeah.
Priest gonna cash in the Money in the Bank as well? So
I don't
like
know.
that's
He's had
that's
that
the
long
question.
time.
He's
It's
running out
it's
of
almost
time.
it's almost in July.
Yeah,
Because
that's July.
he
He's
has
not
in
doing
July, he
something-
hasn't
he's
cashed
had it
the
a
money
long
back.
time.
Yeah, I think it's also weird with him because it's like
It'll be weird. It's
I
like,
think that like at least out of the guys, I think he's the only one that realistically could be like I look at realistically like okay he could actually win it because like I love Balor but the guy's like 40, so there's that. I mean, he's old. There's that. JD, as Cody Rhodes once said, looks like a Funko Pop. I don't see it with JD. But then I'm also like okay when Priest actually cashes it in.
yeah, it was like
Is it
it's gonna fail
Is it
because
not gonna work?
if he
Yeah.
doesn't work, it's gonna be like CM Punk's gonna be in commentary.
CM Punk will have a
Punk on
field day.
commentary. is
Yeah,
gonna
if
be a
he
gem.
catches him at WrestleMania, that's gonna
Yeah.
be Punk on commentary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I think that when we talk about WrestleMania weekend, the other part that's really interesting to me is right. You look at the Hall of Fame class.
Oh yes, yes.
And you're in Philly. You've got Heyman headlining
Yep,
the class this
of course.
And
year.
Bonenko.
The wise man.
Bonenko, and you got the U.S. Express with Bray Wyatts' father.
Yeah.
And his grandfather.
Yeah, and I
Like
think
the question is why Bray Wyatt's name in India, but his father's in.
I
That's
think
really
with
ridiculous.
I think with Bray is first of all, Bray's got the documentary coming
True.
out, so that's
Right,
one
that
thing.
comes out.
I also
on
think
Monday.
I
No,
also
this
think
Monday or does the same with WrestleMania?
I think
it comes out
it-
first.
I think it's like the same as WrestleMania
which
week.
might be.
Okay.
But the other thing is, I think they also recognize that all right, as much as Bray deserves to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Now, first of all, I find it really weird that their Hall of Fame isn't actually a physical place, but that's
I know.
relevant.
It's a shame.
I think they understand that you're not doing him justice if he's not the headliner, and Heyman this year has every reason to be that.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
The
because
guy's
in
been in
the
the business for like 40 years.
yeah, but in the past
Yeah.
he declined it, so for some reason he did
Yeah.
it again.
Now, I also
Yeah.
think it's so fitting that, like I said, you're having WrestleMania in Philadelphia, and the guy that is headlining the class is single-handedly responsible for ECW.
ECW, ECW, ECW.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's
In the chance to gonna happen already at Hall of Fame. ECW,
Yeah.
ECW.
Oh, it's
the
totally
champ.
Oh, it's have the entire
Yeah.
place gonna be chanting.
There was a smaller show that he showed up to. I think it was like an Evolve show or something
Uh-huh.
that they were doing at the 2300, and I've never
That's
heard
right.
a louder ECW chant.
Oh yeah.
The other part I heard with Wyatt was there were reports saying that they talked to the family about putting him in the Hall of Fame, and the family thinks it's too soon, which is a fair point.
I mean, he only died like not even the
The
year.
same with Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero died
Eddie.
at 25, and he did
Yeah.
Hall of Fame 26. Why Bray Wyatt can do the same thing?
Yeah, it's the same thing.
And like you said, you gotta have him headline it.
you have
Oh,
to.
You can't not have
Eventually
him
he
headline
will.
it.
Eventually
and like
he
you said,
will.
Heyman has
will.
to headline this year.
Yeah. Now, I think the other question that's kind of come up at least with the fans is, okay, do you put Bray in individually and then also induct the Wyatt family? Because
Yeah, true. Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
You got Eric Rowan. You got Luke Harper.
Well, Luke Harper's the big one because you're
He
honoring
also
him
passed away.
with that as well.
So it's just gonna be Bray, and it's gonna be Braun and Eric Rowan, and that's it.
Yeah, and they also did. I mean,
I mean, Randy Orton as well.
They
It's funny.
did enough as a faction to justify getting in.
Yes.
Especially because we've seen a lot less deserving people get in, like Goldberg.
Oh god, you couldn't go over.
Yeah, but
Fine.
no, I think honestly, what I wanted to see them do with the Intercontinental title is for the longest time, have been a huge fan of Braun Breaker. I think he's a monster.
Yes.
He does
This
SmackDown,
dude,
but
he is. But that's the thing, because when I remember seeing it, especially when they brought him up for the Rumble, I was like, okay, you need to put this guy.
yeah,
on
because
Raw.
he played Brock Lesnar for that.
Yeah,
He plays
he did.
Brock for obvious reasons.
He's a monster.
He's
Oh
incredible.
my god.
Very talented.
I don't know. He's like I don't know. He's I don't know. He's like his father or Scott Steiner, but
Yeah, I mean, it's the wrestling family. And I saw people that were saying, like, why didn't you introduce this guy as Bronson Steiner? And I'm like,
Bronson Steiner. That sounds weird.
Brunson Steiner that doesn't make
yeah,
any sense.
No.
but I'm also like, listen,
Brian
Just be-
Steiner, but like
just because the guy comes from, and we've seen this before, just because the guy comes from a wrestling family, that doesn't mean you need to build his entire character around that.
Exactly.
and he had same last name as well.
Yeah, I mean, you can even make the case that with certain people that actually, it's a disadvantage to them.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we've seen that, the other one that, comes from a wrestling family that doesn't take that is Lexus King. I mean, he's Pillman's kid.
Yeah.
I think Pillman's
Why go see Lexus Pillman?
Yeah, well, because when he was in that other company.
Oh, AEW.
He was.
He was Brian
he went
Pillman
as
Jr.
Brian Pillman Jr. I also think Brian Pillman's a different story because one, he's dead, and two, there's a couple different things going on with
Yes.
his passing and things as such. But yeah.
So the other one is Jay Cargill. Finally signed with SmackDown.
I
Thank God.
hope to the Lord that they at least put her in some sort of.
They
work
got
with-
she's
No,
gotta be on the
I
card.
guess-
She
I-
has to be on the card.
I get the Bianca. That's what I was.
No, I'm saying that I hope that they at least train her, because I remember watching her in AEW and I looked at her.
She was undefeated, bro. And
She was, but she was so bad. She was really.
She
from an
didn't
actual
exactly have the
from an
greatest
actual-
competition over there either.
No, but from an actual wrestling standpoint, she was terrible.
And then take him a lot of months off and came back
Yeah.
and loses.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah, like ideally she should fight Bianca, but will she be ready for WrestleMania?
Yeah, but I also
Like
think
similar like Logan Paul and Ronda Rousey. The same thing.
Yeah.
don't even get me started on Ronda.
Oh God.
Like,
She might be the female Ryback. I'm not gonna lie.
she's a Karen. That's what she is.
Female Ryback he said that he something about women Ryback said he's gonna retire. If CM Punk went to AEW, he's gonna retire.
Yeah.
It's the other way around.
Yeah, but I guess with Logan Paul, so I can't stand him. I can't stand him as a person. I can't stand him as a character. I think
He's better. He's better as wrestling than boxing.
Oh my,
Well,
yeah,
by
but
far.
but I can just sit here and because I watched some of his matches, and I'm like, dude, he's at
Oh,
least
so
performing-
good.
as a performer, he's incredible.
Right.
I hope they would. I
as
hope they
talking on
take
the
that title
microphone,
off.
he's kind of weird.
Yeah, as a human being, he's a bit of a dick.
He is.
But as a wrestler,
we
he's
still get him
fantastic.
live?
I think so. I say that on my show. I
right.
think that's okay.
No, but I mean, I see the point with Bianca and Jade, but first of all, I feel like if you do that, you're kind of asking to get called racist. But on top of that, it's like I remember looking back at last week's episode of SmackDown. Which, speaking of SmackDown this week, I think she's at least supposed to show up. But it looks like they're going to be going with Naomi and Bianca against Asuka and Kairi.
Rarely Asuka's injured right now, so
Is
it's
she?
something about her knee.
No wrestler has working knees. That's why Roman works 20 matches a year.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and he gets helped by his cousins.
Yeah.
Yes, his old cousins.
This
His
time
many cousins.
this time at WrestleMania, this is gonna be different.
Yes.
Bloodline rules.
I worry about it with them doing this thing especially with Roman and Seth working back-to-back dates.
That's kind of ridiculous. And do we
Yeah.
let Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns would be less than 100%.
Well, Cody and Cody, I'm like
Cody and Roman,
not
to be less
sure
than
about
100%,
Cody.
they just fought the next
Seth and
third.
Roman are the two that actually worry me because Roman hasn't worked like 2 straight dates in like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And on top of it, Seth's coming back from a pretty decent knee injury.
And he's got the back
and
problem too.
He's got the back problem, and the knee
Yeah,
that he
but-
hurt is the same knee that he destroyed a number of years ago. So I look
Against
at that,
Kane in
yeah.
the house show.
And on top of that, that initial injury against Kane, that's something that for a lot of guys will end your career.
Yes.
So I'm looking at it like,
And,
all right,
and
if
came
you're
back
gonna,
and
if you're gonna have this guy work back-to-back dates, you gotta be at least a little bit concerned for his body.
Yeah. Absolutely. So before we close out, let's have one.
I guess I got predictions for
Yeah,
WrestleMania.
one more prediction for WrestleMania. So Nelson, I'll start with you.
So, for the first match with Roman Rock, Seth Rollins. Rock and Roman are going to win that match. The Bloodline rules. It'd be better because they'd be better than having Roman versus Cody just by themselves.
I like that a lot. So I guess I'll go next since I'm next in the row here. I will say Jay beats Jimmy.
I will say Roman keeps the title.
No, I do not see that. I do not see that.
With that,
I do not see that.
The rumor is that internally they're planning for a third match between the two of them.
That's
at
not
SummerSlam.
like it's. This is the same thing
Really?
with Rock.
Yeah.
This is the same from between Rock and Roman. If
Yeah.
there's a third
They'll
match,
fight next year.
no. If the third match happens at WrestleMania 41,
Yeah.
Cody will tie Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's
will.
Yeah.
that's what's gonna happen.
She'd also be the first to win 3 in a row.
3 in a row. That's
Yeah.
what happens. That's like, and don't do that because this is John Cena. John Cena. This is like Daniel Bryan with the Yes movement. This is the same way. Like
Yeah.
this is very similar.
Yeah.
You can't have 2 matches. Roman can't have help. Like Roman said, can I have the title forever? Come on.
No.
Like this is Cody has help, but what will make Roman to win again if Cody has help this time?
I don't know.
But we will find out. Thank you everyone for joining us from the Sports Media Club podcast. We will catch you next time.